of the battle and Metacar can only watch as the two sides fight for all the wrong reasons, or I can't believe that the battle has actually begun, but Senya couldn't be more excited to fight. The leaders are both extremely powerful, so it's no surprise that they fight evenly, unable to join the fight or to watch us nearby. And remembers how the rivalry between the two leaders began. Odia and Morito were revered as the guys who dominated every middle school in Honkai City. They were known as the God Kings. Odia wondered if Mirito would be joining Monoto Kai or Reunion. But Mirito knew he would be bored in either one. Some guys try to pick a fight with Odia, but they quickly realized that they were the God Kings. One of these guys wanted to prove that the God Kings wouldn't be able to rule this school like they did to the others, but he just ended up learning a lesson instead. Ever since they got to the top in middle school, Odia could tell that Morito was totally burned out. He hoped that in this new school there would be someone that could revitalize him. The green-haired guy begged them to join Ike Union and brought them to a fight. The Ike Union leader named Shiba was set to fight Domain, and we see that Shino was there to watch as well. The fight was over in an instant though, as Domain absolutely crushed Shiba. This one-sided slaughter intrigued Morito, and the Monadu guy celebrated their victory mid-celebration. Morito leaped forward and ignored Oda's pleas for him to stop. Morito went directly for an attack on Domain, but of course he stopped it easily. Domain was able to stop another kick, which seemed to have intrigued Murito even more. Murito's ready to fight some more, so he tells the old guy to bring it on, but he's surprised when Domain just walks away. Shiba graduated from Iki Union after his loss, but the others knew they were no match for Domain, so they begged Morito to become their leader. Morito was too busy wondering why Domain just walked away from him, so the others explained that he only fights against people with conviction, people that fight for things like honor or friendship. They told Morito that if he becomes their leader, though, Domain would definitely fight him. Morito seemed bothered by the entire situation, but Wada was just glad to see that his friend was motivated again. Murito ended up declining the offer to become leader, but Oda had something in mind. He ran to the Minato base to declare that he had become the new leader of Vicky Union and challenged Domain to a fight. News of one of the God Kings challenging Domain spread fast, and it eventually reached Morito. While Oda had always been a skilled fighter himself, he stood no chance against the powerful Domain. Oda was quickly defeated, so he dramatically told Murito that it was up to him. Murito was able to see right through his friend and realized that he just got the woman riled up to fight him. Murito made it clear that conviction has nothing to do with what's about to happen, and all he wanted was excitement. Domain once again blocked Murito's kick, but this time Murito was able to break it. This of course shocked everyone, but what was even more surprising is that Domain seemed to become excited. The two went on to land attack after attack in order to tell that Murito was back to his old self again. They would go on to continue fighting, but a winner was never determined. Moving forward, Domain refused to graduate as he decided to wait for the day when Murito could finally defeat him. Back to their present, the two leaders still fight evenly. Maro begs her brother to stop fighting, and she demands Ari go do something. Aura half-heartedly tries to stop them, but he just gets ignored. Murito couldn't be having more fun though, and declares that his next attack will settle the rivalry. This attack is an incredibly powerful one, but it is meant by a punch from Domain. Everyone watches in awe of their power, and their attack causes the wall to collapse. The two leaders have caused some serious damage to each other, as they are now both out cold. What he can do to help, but Maharu states that she is done with him. Everything has gone just as planned for Shindo, so he tells his men to eliminate everyone. He will punish them if they don't, so the entire army moves in. Both the Menatoki and Shiguma squads are furious to realize what the Ing boys have done, so they go to fight them. Senya realizes that jumping into this huge war will skyrocket his merge rate with Era, but Era is completely disinterested. Sonia tries to remind him of all the training he did, but Era stares at Majidoo and points out that training and fighting don't mean anything now. Senia can't believe that Aura really did everything just so a girl would like him, but Aura wonders what other reason could there possibly be. Sonia forces him to watch the battle and points out that all his friends are fighting for their lives. He questions if Var is really just going to turn his back on them and run. Var's stomach starts hurting again. He declares that those people are not his friends. They aren't anything to him, so he runs away. Senia is disappointed in him and realizes now that Aura doesn't have what he was looking for after all. Shindo finds Aura and reveals that he knows about Senya. Era can't believe that Senya isn't just his imaginary friend. But things get serious as Shindo begins to attack him. Even though Era has abandoned him, Mad Hacker still worries about his friend. Shindo implores Era to merge with Sanya and warns that he will end his life if he doesn't. Shindo pulls out a blade from his shoe and stabs Aura with it, making it clear to Senya that Shindo really will take his life. Sonia begs for them to merge. Bara has determined that he no longer has a reason to live. Marakara gets concerned for his friend again, but this just causes him to take some serious damage. He is completely vulnerable and swarmed by boys. Shindo continues to be down on Nara and asks his maiden if Aura really has Sunny inside of him. Shindo decides to help out with the battle and reveals to everyone that he was behind it all. He thanks them all for falling right into his trap, so Blondie attacks him. He only manages to get beat up, so Shindo taunts Zuba next. Zuba gets taken out as well, so Shindo just tells the others to hurry up and fight all at once. Everyone is infuriated by his arrogance, so they all go in for an attack, but Shindo's just too strong. Marakara is the only one that finally manages to land an attack, but Shindo was shockingly not affected. Shindo retaliates and causes excruciating pain to Matakara by attacking his bad leg nearby. Aura regains consciousness and the first thing he sees is Matakara getting beat up. Aura has flashbacks to when Matakara was beaten as a kid and sending once again questions if Aura is okay with turning his back on a friend. Aura doesn't respond, so Senia gets frustrated since he was so close to reaching something he wanted. Marakara does his best to fight back against Shindo, but it's no hope. Shindo disrespectfully wipes blood off his shoe on Matakara and decides that he will now move on. He looks at the leaders and declares that he will make it so they can never fight again. Just then, Maharu stands up to him and tells the creep to disappear. Shindo strikes her down for this shocking aura. Shindo tells her to stay out of the fight since she is powerless. Era once again has flashbacks and tells Maharu not to do this. He tells her to run, but Mara once again stands before Shindo. The thought of running makes her sick, as Shindo doesn't scare her at all. Meijo decides to insult him instead and calls him an empty shell that doesn't know who he is until others tell him. The angry Shindo decides that she will pay for her words with her life, and he uses his blade to strike her down. His attack surprisingly doesn't land, and Maharu was shocked to see that Aura stopped him. Marakara sees this as well, and Shindo tells Era to just give up. He starts whipping her boy, cutting him all over his body. Bar just keeps moving forward. Sanaya watches in amazement as he realizes that their merger is going up from this. Shindo lands a devastating hit. Bar refuses to give up and continues pushing forward. Shindo strikes him even harder, and Sonia wonders how high their murder rate could possibly go. The merged Dara's first punch just barely grazes Shindo, but it still manages to cut his face. Shindo is then the one to be shocked as Zara blocks his kick. Everyone around watches Aura fight, and they begin to root for him. Aura pushes Shindo back, but Shindo manages to block one punch. Zabu is next to Kairoman, and Era manages to break Shindo's block. Marakara encourages his friend to end the fight, and Nora once again announces his goal to develop plot for the first time. With that, our Lance's most powerful punch yet, sending Chanel flying several meters and utterly destroying him. Everyone watches in complete silence, but they are then shocked when Shindo somehow manages to stand up. He just ends up collapsing right after though, and everyone celebrates Senya's stun more than anything, though, since Are just faced an opponent possessed by Ikia and somehow won. Era instantly rushes to see if Maharu was okay, but she is at a complete loss for words. The others interrupt their little moment and the leaders are checked on to see if they're okay. Marakara tells Era that he always believed in him and he knew that Aura would do the right thing. Aura refuses to take credit though, and points out that he wasn't the one that didn't give up. Marakara doesn't completely understand, Bara just says it's nothing. Marakara is still in really bad shape, but he's shocked when Arya helps him stand up and tells him that it's time to go home. Sometime later, Arva returns to his restaurant house and his mom seems proud to see him all beat up. Era gets cleaned up and Sindhu compliments him on his powerful punch. Sonia admits that he was wrong about him. Bara points out that he just cares about getting Maharu to love him. Era does wonder how Shindo knew about Senya, but Senya says he has no clue. Senya strangely stares at the mark on Nara's back though and thinks about how the time has finally come. Another look into the past shows what happened after Marito fought Doman. This is when he agreed to become Iki Union's leader and changed the name to Shiguma. Back to the present order, which is his friend would stop losing, but Murray does click to point out that he didn't lose. Murito declares that things will be different next time. Odia assumes that he means he will win next time. Bermuda declares that he will just get a bigger cup of noodles. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this.